Hello, friends and neighbors. Bill Fox here again. We're going through some interesting times. The Republic is definitely under siege. So, title of today's lecture, Are You Uncomfortable Yet? It seems that the illiberal left, they want to ban Sandy Cortez, better known as AOC's Twitter response to the BLM and Antifa riots back December 2nd. She made this comment. The whole point of protesting is to make people uncomfortable. Activists take that discomfort with the status quo and advocate for concrete policy changes. Popular support often starts small and grows. To folks who complain that protest demands make others uncomfortable, that's the point. So, as they say, what goes around comes around. And I suspect, again, Orwell keeps popping up. He's rolling over in his grave with Beethoven and Chuck Berry. So the senile president-elect of half these ununited states and Willie's Ho were very upset how different Trump's protesters were treated versus Black Lives Matter. BLM and Antifa, they're mostly peaceful, right? They were treated harshly, he belches for the camera. Really? Most of us, BLM has not only been given a pass, they've been rewarded with millions, maybe billions of dollars of funding to continue their domestic terrorism. True to Walensky's rules for radicals, and I encourage you to read those rules. And by the way, Walensky learned those rules. This is true because he was from Chicago in the 20s. While he was studying for his PhD, he spent a couple of years with Al Capone's gang, learning how to perfect extortion. And that's all this is really. And in effect, these militia, they've gone after big corporate America and been quite successful. And they've been allowed to run roughshod over the Democrat-controlled cities. And guess what? Big corporate America, they're just okay. They're fine with it. Because, those pesky small businesses, and especially those that don't like China, they're being shut down. The rich get richer, as they say. So the masters in China, with Trump gone, will now be able to continue to make big tech, big media, big pharma, big globalist, socialist America wealthy. So who cares if the middle class suffers? Who cares if China becomes the world's lone superpower? Hey, they got theirs. And unless the little guys capitulate, let the serfs eat cake. So Trump has held dozens and dozens of rallies, all peaceful until now. And though many talking heads talk about the darkest day in America, really, I'm afraid my simple comment earlier about the laws of physics, has been shown to be true. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Literally, dozens of cities were under siege, riots, looting, burning, murders, mayhem for month after month after month. This is one day for the Trump folks. Yes, it was a big one, but it's only been one day. Sorry. I suspect this is only the start. Not equal and opposite by a long shot. So, at least in my humble opinion, the tipping point for Trump loyalists was not the rally itself or the fact that Trump didn't slink away the way other politicians would have. I suspect the final straw was the Georgia steal. I'm afraid the liberals, or the illiberals, got greedy. Ironic that it's been reported that the reason the Supremes didn't take up the Texas case questioning the legitimacy of the changes made to the electoral process And to just try to be clear here, the Constitution, Article 2, Section 1, states pretty clearly it's the state legislatures, period. Not all these other, quote, last minute changes that were made in the key battleground states. So it just totally screwed up the voting process. And of course, the people don't believe the results. You know, voting days, weeks before, after, so people can, who knows what's going on. All sorts of weird. We got, photographs of things being, or videos where they turn off the count, and then things happen for a couple of hours, and then they turn them back on. Makes people, suspicious. And the fact that the Supreme Court and all these other, quote, courts, didn't bother to take the cases up. And that's the issue. Nothing has been decided. There hasn't been any audits. There's no admission that they screwed up. But now, as they say, the chickens have come home to roost. So, it's kind of, ironic, right? Roberts was heard screaming by one of the staffers, I don't give a bleep about Bush versus Gore. They didn't have riots then. Well, you got riots now on both sides. Immoral cowards and crooks. And like I said, it's not over by a long shot. And the corrupt media moguls and tech tyrants, we know they're going to double down, turning Trump into an evil villain, making absurd claims that poor BLM and Antifa were treated harsher than the Trump folks. The third of the country not asleep or brainwashed will simply not go away. Thank God and our founders for the Second Amendment, because without the opposition locked and loaded, this country would be done. I mean, the Republic is under siege and it may never well recover. But it wasn't the folks who broke into the Capitol that are in the process of turning the U.S. into a banana republic. No, I don't condone violence, but I'm not as arrogant or ignorant as the illiberal locusts of the left and the ruling class. You can only heat things up for so long, push people so far before it boils over. Yes, another law of physics. And by the way, if you're a lefty and you're happy your side won the day, are you uncomfortable yet?